Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of our series, The Heart of God. Before I started making this video, I just was sitting here, was praying and listening and asked God, what do you want to tell us today about your heart and our connection with your heart? And he showed me this picture of me stepping into a literally heart-shaped heart, not, like the Valentine's Day heart. But he showed me a picture of me stepping into his heart, and he said, I want you to live out of this. I want you to live as if my heart is your home. And I said, okay, that makes sense and it sounds good, but what does it mean? And he said, listen, first of all, he took me to Luke chapter 6, verse 45. Luke 6:45, and it says, a good person produces good things from the treasury of a good heart, and an evil person produces evil things from the treasury of an evil heart. What you say flows from what is in your heart. Another version is, out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. It's so interesting to me that the truth is none of us have a good heart. None of us will ever have a good heart. There might be good people, but none of us have a good heart. In fact, we are born into sin. And what happened when Jesus, who lived a perfect life, the Son of God, died on the cross, rose from the dead, and offered us an exchange of life. What happens in that process is not just salvation, where we get to go to heaven forever. What also happens is an exchanged life, where I can have a heart transplant, where I can exchange my heart for his. And some people might say, now come on, what are you talking about? What's all this spiritual mumbo jumbo? What's that about? But you know what? That happened to Jesus in the Bible. Nicodemus said to Jesus, how can a man be born again? How can a man go back into his mother's womb and be born again? And Jesus said, I'm not talking about a physical birth. If you believe it all in the spiritual, we should all believe in the spiritual. We should all believe that we have souls, because have you ever cried? Have you ever laughed? Have you ever felt something so deeply? I'm telling you, you're not just a robot. You're not just a physical being. You have a soul and you have a spirit. And I'm talking about in the spiritual. The fact is that none of us are perfect. Only Jesus Christ can offer us a perfect heart to live out of. And I believe that God does not want to just put his heart in ours and then the rest of our body is ours. I think he wants us to live out of the place of being in the center of his heart. And we might say, what does that look like? What does that life look like? Well, he told me it looks like living out the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. If we're living from his heart, then we're living with peace. We're living with patience in those relationships, peace in that financial situation, joy at all times, no matter what happens, self-control, right? We're not getting out of control, upset maybe with our kids or upset with other things that are going on. Forgiveness, what was it? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, right? And self-control, gentleness. And I think that connects with forgiveness and not having bitterness towards somebody. If we are experiencing those things in our life, worry and fear and depression and sadness and anxiousness and anger and all those things that so many of us experience, I experience. Those are the times in our lives where we're living from the treasury of an evil heart instead of the treasury of a good heart. And I don't say that, and I don't mean that to say your heart's evil. You need a good heart. It's not accusatory. What it's saying is you cannot dip into the well of your heart and find enough good to help you live through the greatest challenges in life. You can only dip into the heart of God and live there to find enough good, enough power, enough good, right? The treasury of a good heart, the treasury, enough good things, right? The treasures of these good things. Only there can you find what you need to live out the peace and the patience and the joy and the gentleness and the kindness and the self-control that you so desire. So just very practically, I challenge us to go to God every morning and say, God, I don't always feel it. I can't conjure it up. I can't make it happen. But I want to live out of your heart. I want you to get rid of my heart. I want it to be your heart. And I want to live out of your heart today in all my interactions and all my relationships, even when I'm alone and I'm thinking about the different things that sometimes worry me or make me anxious or whatever it might be. I want it to be that it's your heart, the treasury of a good heart that I live out of. I want to live off that treasure and not try to do it off of my own. All right, I pray that for you guys. Blessings. We'll see you again in part 4.